The state of Florida, having one of the highest rates of abortion in America, has now enforced a 6-week ban on abortion. The limit was reduced from 15 weeks, which made it safer for women to access the much-needed assistance. The law includes limited exceptions for victims of rape, incest or human trafficking up until 15 weeks of pregnancy, with patients required to show documentation such as medical records or a police report. The maternal mortality rate in the country is on the rise, with a whopping 32.9 deaths per 100,000 births. Extreme weather conditions across the world are increasing. At least 60 people have died and more than 100 have been injured after flash flooding in northern Afghanistan. The country has been hit by unusually heavy rainfall over the last few weeks, with floods killing more than 100 people since mid-April. In other news of changing climatic conditions, the world is witnessing the strongest solar storm in 19 years, triggering vibrant hues of green and purple lights across Europe and the United States. The beauty of the northern lights has grave impacts on the electrical waves on communication arrays, potentially disrupting communications, the electric power grid, navigation, radio, and satellite operations. In the latest development of the ongoing Israel-Hamas front, Joe Biden has issued a blunt warning to Israel that his administration will stop supplying bombs and artillery shells if its military pushes ahead with an offensive on the southern Gaza city of Rafah. The US has paused the delivery of 3,500 munitions, more than half of them 2,000-pound bombs, which can cause devastating damage and severe civilian casualties when dropped on densely populated areas. Amidst the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, Vladimir Putin took oath as the president of Russia for the 5th time. The inauguration comes 2 days ahead of Victory Day on the 9th of May. After this, President Putin has ordered to hold drills that will include practice for the use of tactical nuclear weapons. This was Kremlin's response to statements by Western and NATO member countries about sending troops into Ukraine. Russia has the most nuclear weapons in the world, with an arsenal of 5,977 nuclear weapons. Hello, you're watching Global Compass, the weekly show that updates you on all that has been happening around the world. And in our next segment, let's look into some of the stories that specifically featured on StratNewsGlobal. After the recent reports on the side effects of AstraZeneca's COVID-19 vaccine, the Anglo-Swedish drug maker is withdrawing its COVID-19 vaccine worldwide. The withdrawal follows the company's admission that the jab can cause rare side effects. Its production has stopped. In India, the vaccine is known as Covishield and is made by the Serum Institute of India. North Korea's propaganda chief Kim Ki-nam, who served all 3 rulers of the Kim clan, has died at the age of 94. The North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un was visibly in tears during his mentor's funeral. The popularly attributed propaganda minister of North Korea served for the 3 generations of Kims and played a crucial role in North Korean politics. On his Europe tour, President Xi met President Viktor Orbán in Hungary. The 2 countries moved forward in the construction of key projects, including the reconstruction of the Budapest-Belgrade railway project. Hungary and China signed 18 agreements after the meeting of their leaders. India was one of the major countries at the United Nations General Assembly that voted in favor of a resolution declaring that Palestinians qualify for full member status at the UN. The vote was 143 votes in favor and 9 against, including the US and Israel, while 25 countries abstained. The vote is, however, seen as a symbolic, given the fact that membership can only come with the unanimous approval of the UN Security Council. In news that will give UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak some relief, the United Kingdom's economy experienced its fastest growth in nearly 3 years during the first quarter of 2024, pulling it out of the mild recession that began in the later half of the previous year. This has given a boost to Rishi Sunak ahead of the upcoming election. And taking the story of the upcoming UK elections forward, I was in London last week and spoke to Rahul Roy-Chaudhury, Senior Fellow for South and Central Asian Defence, Strategy and Diplomacy at the International Institute for Strategic Studies. Rahul Roy-Chaudhury researches and publishes on India's domestic politics as well as its foreign and security policies. He gave his candid views on the diminishing popularity of India's favourite son-in-law, Rishi Sunak, and how the Prime Minister is dealing with the recession and the opposition stance on Gaza. Take a look. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the United Kingdom. We just had the local council elections, right?
Yes.
And the Conservatives did not do well at all. What does that speak regarding Rishi Sunak's popularity?
For Rishi Sunak, this could not have come at a worse time. He is struggling with challenges over the British economy, which was his key focus to get the economy back on track. That hasn't yet happened. There are other domestic political issues, including within the Conservative Party. But I think significantly, there had been a view that once the council elections were over, there'd been an attempt to unseat Rishi Sunak based on the expectation that he would perform badly, the Conservatives would do badly. But I think that is not happening. There is a view now in the Conservative Party that there will be no coup against Rishi Sunak.
You know, the Rwanda Bill that was recently cleared. Now, the Prime Minister himself is an immigrant, so to speak, and, this very strong views that he has. Do you think that has gone against him in some way in these, what's the general feeling?
So in a way, yes, Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister has taken a tough stance on immigration, illegal immigration coming into the country. There's a campaign that he's led called Stop the Boats, which is basically stop the boats coming in from Calais, from France, of illegal immigrants. He's pushed forward the bill to move some illegal immigrants to Rwanda. And that bill has now been accepted and the flights are expected to start soon. But within the Conservative Party, he is not seen as being extremely on the right. There are others who are even more sort of right-wing than him on these issues.
Okay.
And they are arguing within the Conservative Party that the reason that he's lost the election as Prime Minister, the council election, is because he hasn't been right-wing enough. And there are much more strident voices within the Conservative Party against immigration.
Okay, that's interesting. Talking about other issues, this is again an international issue. The Labour Party, they have been very vocal on their views regarding Palestine. What impact has that had on these elections?
So, over 2 years ago, the Russia-Ukraine war had a huge impact on the population in the UK.
Yes.
And there were, protests against, demonstrations against the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Now the focus has now shifted from the Russia-Ukraine theater to the Gaza theater, the Israel-Gaza conflict and the war that's taking place there. And the people on the ground and are angry about what the Israelis have done, are doing in Gaza. The government has a different attitude on this, and I think the British government was supportive of Israel, but has clearly tried to restrain Israel, though unsuccessfully, as we've seen so far. For the Labour Party, this is a big issue for them, where a lot of their sort of electorate feels strongly about this. And this is going to be something the Labour Party, as in opposition, can be vocal about.
Yes.
But if and when they come into government, they will have to find out a sort of balance to what they are able to do as a party in government. So I think we are not clear yet what the attitude will be if and when in government. It's easy to be opposed to it when you're in opposition, but they will have to finesse their policy because there are strong links, against with their strong links with Israel. There's a whole sort of anti-Semitism aspect within the Labour Party, so they have to balance the domestic and the international. And Keir Starmer, the leader of the Labour Party, will have a balancing attitude.
Coming to India, Indians now, wealthy Indians living in the United Kingdom, they've been influential as far as UK politics is concerned. So what is their role? How do you see the dynamics of that in these elections?
So essentially, the British Indians, have been influential, like Rishi Sunak, as the sort of British Indian, but also as very clearly stated Hindu, the first Hindu Prime Minister of Great Britain and the United Kingdom. So they've had an influential role. People like Rishi Sunak and others are there. But it's important to say that it's evenly balanced between the Labour Party and the Conservative Party. So we've had in the past several British members of Parliament of the Conservative Party. In that sense, we have a few from the Labour Party. The challenge will be to see how many seats are given to British Indians by the Labour Party, because that is still too early for that. Traditionally, I think the Conservatives have slightly more British Indians in terms of members of Parliament than in the Labour Party. So for British Indians, they are seen and they need to be seen as British first. So in a way, it is their constituencies, it is their electorate within the UK that they're trying to, seeking to influence. The link with India, I think, is not going to be a strong one for them.
It's going to be interesting, I think, the months ahead in 2024.
You can listen to the entire interview on StratNewsGlobal tomorrow. So in case you still haven't, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. I hope you will like and share this show as well. And it's time to wrap up this week's Global Compass. But before we go, Vienna is hosting a series of performances of Ludwig van Beethoven's 9th Symphony to mark 200 years since its premiere on the 7th of May. The symphony, widely regarded as one of the great masterpieces of Western classical music and culminating in the Ode to Joy, was first performed in 1824 in Vienna. It became an anthem for unity and joy across the world. Today, his music is as vital and relevant as it was 2 centuries ago. Enjoy the performance from Austria and have a wonderful week ahead. See you next Sunday.